Alright, so last time we left off, we finally managed to finish the thing on Kulth. You managed to kill one of the actually canon characters in this setting, which was the Grimtooth the Gitslaver, war boss, or rather warlord of entire WA Grimtooth, even as quite a few of them, not majority, but quite a few of them kinda went out to fuck themselves and like they left somewhere. According to intel you found, or rather Mayek found before you assaulted, that this is something connected to this the Call of the Gods and Orcs gathering up. And afterwards I kinda decided that we will be doing Timeskip, as in the meantime you guys were hard working into making sure that the entire orcish menace is gone, because as the fungi based organism you need to absolutely make sure that they are gone, so that in like 50 years they don't return in like and swarm this place again. So basically extermination and like pest control on the
They're
planet.
still gonna do.
And they focus on something else. And the pest control in the sector, and that was one major thing. And the second one was the diplomatic, we can say diplomatic mission regarding Severan Dominate and going around various planets, setting up meetings with governors, trying to convince them to like just set up a transition period and set up set up a pressure, just apply just enough pressure on Duke Severan himself that he will be forced to resign, and basically you will be able to sweep the entire rebellion under the rug. And what the High Lords of Terra will hear is that the rebellion has been dealt with, and they won't be bothered by the details, like the units that rebelled now fighting again for the Imperium and dealing with various dangers. Obviously from time to time some Dark Eldar, they were not attacking you, they were kind of avoiding you, but there were some reports from time to time over the course of months that they were like kidnapping some people and doing the typical Dark Elderly stuff, their BDSM bullshit. Now, for random things, like both of the handouts I just finished like 15 minutes before the game started because I was procrastinating too much. If somebody's interested, the Whispers of the Void handout has a new fragment that I've written, and you will also see a handout called Timeskip Spending, and I will explain that in just a moment, and I need a moment to figure it out from what I want to start and deal with, because obviously, I mean, we can skip through a lot of character interaction, but I might have some ideas of several social scenes that might have happened over the course of Timeskip. Looking at the chat, don't feel I mean, Sighting 9 is fun, but yeah, Burning Princess has 14, so yeah, she's bigger fish in Sighting. Anyways, I mean, if you guys are, rather I might ask you with what you want to deal with first.
Well, I don't mean to go back. Sorry, my push to talk button is fucking up. As I was going to say, before we actually do go into the time skip, if it's of importance, I do recall last session Xanthus wanted to speak to my character about something.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I mean, go ahead.
I don't know what it was about. It might not be that important, but it just came to mind.
Honestly, I kind of forgot.
Oh, that's fine. And let's skip to the
Hang
Must
on
not
a
have been
second.
very important.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was kind of important. It was.
Wasn't
Let me
this
see if I can
connected to
remember.
that? I think you mentioned something that you're gonna talk with Mayek about, for example, this mark of chaos that was visible on him when you were fighting with Warlord.
It was, yeah, it was something to do with that mark and the sororitas and something something. Let me think. Oh, now I remember. Xanthus basically wants to talk to him about the obvious. Like, buddy, let's talk about that chaos mark. Then let's talk about you in the ecclesiarchy. Then let's talk about me in the ecclesiarchy. All of these are important. So yeah, let's get that over with real quick.
Yeah, go
It can
ahead.
be.
If you
It can
don't
be
mind.
done. It can be done off camera, not to keep things rolling, because it probably will take a short while. Knowing how
Probably.
things
I'm fine
go.
with doing it now because I kind of forgot to decide what I was going to buy to replace.
Yeah,
my
play
So
play
I
the
kinda did that.
scene. I mean, let's
All right.
get some substance out of it.
Okay, so everything was sorted on the ship. Everything calmed down. Everyone went their separate ways to do their things. Mayek went back to his room after we sorted everything out on the ship. So yeah.
Let's see here. Was Xanthus try to do this telepathically or just with comms? No, it was comms, I guess. Mick,
Inquisitor.
can I request your presence in my quarters?
Certainly, I shall be there. I shall be there in a moment.
Very well.
Gets up, dusts himself off, or decreases his robe, tugs at it, and then goes to Xanthus's room, knocks on the door, and awaits entry.
Enter.
Does so, closing the door behind him.
Primaris. Glad you've come. I figure that you and I need to have a bit of a talk.
He raises an eyebrow and doesn't say anything just yet.
What do you know about me? Or what do you think about me? More specifically in regards to the ecclesiarchy.
Our dislike for them stems from different things, but it matters not really. No, it matters not to me what you think, though I am somewhat curious as to why you are not on not equal footing. You would have said, curious as to why why there's a common dislike for them.
Well, my particular dislike of the ecclesiarchy doesn't stem so much from any active wrong they've done against me, as much as the fact that they don't particularly favor me. Or to rephrase that to make it sound a little
Because of
sensible.
he interrupts. Because of what interjects rather. Because of what happened to the previous Inquisitor.
Yes.
Or this Inquisitor you previously served under.
Well, even before that, I'd had some questionable run-ins with the ecclesiarchy, but I do believe this has more or less sealed it. Someone somewhere seems to be under the impression that either I or we, and by we I mean the members of this cadre who were around when that Inquisitor was around, were somehow responsible for her death.
I've read
this. Go ahead.
I have read into what occurred. Are what it shows on the records true? Is the account true?
I did not put a single word of falsehood in that record. The Inquisitor was dragged away. We handled the situation where we stood and then went after her. We emerged to the room, had a fight to get to the Inquisitor, but we were too late, and thus we simply killed everything in the room and continued our mission. Xantha shrugs. There's not much more to it than that. She was dragged? She was dragged into the warp. There was nothing that could really be done past that point.
Then you succeeded the mission, so why have they made such a fuss out of it?
If I were to take my guess, there's one of two, perhaps three reasons. Either one, I believe that another Inquisitor is gunning for me. Two, someone outside of the Inquisition, but still with ties to the ecclesiarchy, is gunning for me. Or three, it could simply be that the Sororitas have suspicions for a man who is less than Puritan suddenly coming to power in what was formerly a Puritan cadre, and turning that cadre into a radical one. He shrugs again. Most likely it's a mixture of all three of those. The prejudice of the Sororitas is being used as fuel by an Inquisitor or someone with equivalent power. And who knows, the situation might not even be about me specifically, but about something that I'm doing.
Or they could be seeking revenge if she was the canoness of their order prior to her ascension.
An intriguing idea, and I do believe she was. But in that case, they have to have read that report. Do they think that I submitted a falsehood to my own Lord Inquisitor, the Grand Master Inquisitor of this sector?
They are blind, often misguided. I would not put it past such folk.
Oh. This is true. The Sororitas are quite easily misled. Their convictions, while respectable and strong, are often their undoing because it makes them quite predictable. Regardless,
Mayek just sighs heavily after you mentioning that specific point.
out of curiosity, Mayek, why do you harbor such dislike of the Sororitas? Oh, and
Me
where are
roll
my
something.
manners? Where are my manners? Can I offer you a drink?
He shakes his head, and I just need to roll a willpower real quick. I have not been a part of this cadre, as you call it, for very long. I feel as if it is a story for another time.
Very well. I won't press the matter. Yet. I'll just assume that it's nothing too terribly bad, or else Caden wouldn't have recommended you to me. Well, he wouldn't call Caden by his name. Actually, I guess he would. Like he's here to hear it.
Was that all, Inquisitor?
No. Just trying to think of how to breach this next topic. I guess straightforward is always the best approach. About that,
The mark.
yes. Should I ask, or would you like to volunteer that bit of information? I know the technique. I've researched into the warp and into the forbidden lore quite enough to know what you did, but... And he trails off. But... I'm curious. This. How How freely do you use your powers, I should say, or I ask? That's a terrible way to ask it. I don't know if you understand what Xanthus is trying to ask him. Like, what is his opinion on his sorcery? What is Meg's opinion on his own sorcery?
It is a means to an end, to bring about the end for those disloyal to the Imperium of Man. A tool, if you will. I do not crave power, if that is what you are asking.
In a roundabout way, that's where I'm getting at. Chaos is always sought after those with power lust. And it is quite an easy method of getting power. Always with a price, but you cannot deny the power it brings. Having said that,
I try to deny it as much as I possibly can.
I'm going to guess that I don't need to be rolling sense motives.
Right no, you don't. Yeah. I mean, you can if you want, but just gonna get the same answer.
All right. Go ahead and continue. I kind of interrupted you there. Sorry.
I just need to try and get back to that train of thought where I was going with that.
This was right after Xanthus said that the power that chaos grants is undeniable, even though it always comes with a price.
And I do my best to deny it. For once I accept it, then I will slowly descend the ever-winding path to corruption. And that is something I don't tend to do. He gives him a challenging gaze. As if, he's probably not too pleased as to what you're insinuating. Albeit indirectly.
My apologies, Manic. I didn't mean to offend you, but you have to understand, I have to be somewhat cautious. It's my job as an Inquisitor.
Try not to let it descend into paranoia.
A little bit late for that. I'm always paranoid, at least to some degree. But not about you. More about how others perceive you. Which brings me to my next point. Considering the fact that this particular order of sororitas has all but declared war on me, thus the ecclesiarchy must also be in on it, for they wouldn't simply do it by themselves. Meaning that for the most part, I'm going to assume that the ecclesiarchy is maybe not overtly against me, but they are probably not going to be helping us too much.
Good.
Which means that, and I'm going to use a term mostly heard in guardsmen quarters, they can go fuck themselves. I personally do not care what you do, what symbols you grace your head with, or the like.
Let me just roll intelligence before you continue.
Go ahead.
Do you honestly believe me stupid enough to brandish it in front of those... how would he word it? Those more quick to judge?
No, I don't believe you to be stupid at all. In fact, I believe you to be rather intelligent. However, anyone and everyone can make mistakes. If anything, where I'm going with this is that if you do happen to make that mistake, then I'll have your back. I'm not going to let you... Why?
He raises an eyebrow.
Why not?
You hardly know me. And the things I have seen, the things that I can do, they are abnormal by the Imperium standards.
Your point. My dear Meg.
You have made countless enemies already. You need not make more on my behalf.
Meg, I saw you split your stomach open to bring my men off that planet. Your intestines were literally hanging onto the floor. I respect that. Beyond that, you're a part of my cadre. Which means that, well, forgive the cliche, members of my cadre are always under my protection. I don't care who they are or what they do. If you use your powers for the good of the Imperium, I will not have you judged by the simple-minded and the close-minded. He says with a shrug.
He nods slowly. After a few moments of possibly awkward silence, he says in a quiet, he speaks with a low tone to his voice. Do you honestly believe that anyone would wish these sorts of freakish powers upon themselves if they had a choice? And still yearn to remain loyal?
Do I believe that someone who voluntarily possesses your powers would still desire to remain loyal?
No. I shall rephrase.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand it myself.
Basically, what he essentially said was, do you honestly believe that anyone would choose this path if they were loyal?
Oh. But Meg, you didn't choose your path, did you? As I could have sworn, you were a part of a blighted Scala, was it?
He nods.
So, did you truly choose this path, or was it more or less forced on you?
What do you know of the shrine world Valon?
Oh, let's find out. I'm in Lower Imperium?
Mhm.
Or...
And probably some forbidden law, something or other. Inquisition, if you have it. Don't know if it'd be kept a secret. Probably would.
And Forbidden Lore Inquisition.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, what is this world?
Essentially, there was 3 of the main blighted scholars that were found and uprooted. There were 3 of them, and one of such was on this very shrine world under the noses of the ecclesiarchy and various orders of the sororitas.
Yes. What was the name of this world again?
I will type it.
Yes, Valon or a shrine world that held the blighted Scala directly within its bowels. Bowels, hardly. It was literally right underneath the nose of the ecclesiarchy. How they never noticed it is beyond me.
his hands ball into fists. Doesn't say anything more though.
That was the Scala that you were a part of, wasn't it? So that's where your resentment for the ecclesiarchy comes from. You resent them because of that.
No matter how many times I had told them there was something going on behind the scenes because of what I was. They paid my pleas. Yeah, sure. They paid my pleas. No, let me rephrase. Sorry. How to word this? They disregarded my pleas for them to look into it, believing their what's the term for a head of a church? Like the higher, not just a regular preacher, but someone
Cardinal?
higher. Cardinal. Sure. They believed in their cardinal to the bitter end. And he was the one pulling all of the strings.
Oh, I don't even have a word for that. Despicable, perhaps? No, too light. You understand. If they didn't believe you then, and the cardinal was the one pulling the strings, how did he eventually fall? Or didn't he?
I mean, this is probably something for Matt to delve into, but from Mayek's perspective, he probably believes he died and thus manifests a bolt of warp energy within his hand. He's not throwing it in any direction, it's just there, crackling, giving off quite a putrid aura, I imagine. Raw warp, and it's the warp bolt, I believe, that he can do that damages people's damages them on the crit table directly.
Oh, okay.
There's only so much torment a man's soul can stand. He clenches the fists and the energy dissipates. With a hiss, probably. I watched him suffer. I watched the life drain from his very eyes as they went dull and blank.
Vindication.
I suppose.
Well, I suppose that answers a few questions of my own. Or a few of my questions. Meaning I won't really have to pry any further into that part of your past. Let's change the subject to something a little more pleasant, shall we? I have one more thing I have to ask you before I let you go.
Yes.
My command squad's psyker, Solon. Would you have any interest in teaching him a few things you know? I figure he would learn better from a Primaris than an Inquisitor.
Yes, he remains quiet for a while. And I need to roll something again.
I can't realize why the fuck Soul is running around with multi-metal. Yo, motherfuckers need the Emperor.
Why do we need the Emperor exactly? What did we do this time?
Oh, let's teach the fucking what's a guy chaotic shit.
I will have to decline.
And just to dispel any whatever it is you're thinking of, Dimko, I wasn't referring to teaching him your sorcerer's magic if that's what you're afraid of. I was meaning more the normal Primaris methods. But if you have no interest in teaching, that's fine.
My apologies.
No need. Dimko, did you really think that Xanthus was trying to ask him to teach Solon sorcery?
Because of where this campaign's going, I don't know what to think.
I guess that's fair. That is fair. At any rate, as I said, perfectly fine. Just thought I'd put the idea out. But beyond that, you're free to go, Mayak.
He nods and then leaves without saying another word.
And
You won't have to roll scrutiny. He's not pissed off at you. He just wasn't too pleased at having to
This
speak
talk
about
brought
things.
back some unpleasant memories that you'd like to avoid.
To say the very least.
And Mayak, he says before Mayak is out the door,
He stops. He doesn't turn around.
I meant what I said. If it ever comes down to the ecclesiarchy coming after you, they will find me standing in their way. Until next time, Primaris.
He just nods. And leaves.
Alright. And scene.
Okay,
Where's my little clicking device?
before I go with my stuff, that this will be maybe not disjointed, but before we go like the entire time skip, this will be like time skipping, a bit like scene like Hellfire after this present time and then there, so not immediately like 5 years later, then